And we are live, a critical podcast. Moose called for it. Here we are, January 2nd, second of the new year. And it just feels like news piece after news piece, article after article. A development occurs basically every day, right? Organizations, issues with the C Band launch, carriers, FAA, FCC, Airline Association. The list is just incredible. So I went ahead and I got the dream team on. We got Tyrone from Tech Life here with us tonight. Thanks for being here, Tyrone. We got Carlos S. Tech, and we have Moose. The usual suspects are here. So, Moose, I call on you to kind of lead the way on this. You've got a pretty good pulse. And Tyrone, you've got some really good details on possible ramifications and developments within the next 24 to 48 hours, things that could potentially happen. We'll call them possibilities, and we'll kind of stay away from using official terminology just because we know it isn't. We'll try to be as thoughtful and considerate of that so we don't misinform anyone. But just know that the things that we discussed tonight are all possible outcomes of what could develop in the course of the next couple of days. So, Moose, if you want to go ahead and cover some of the details that have emerged in the last 24 or 48 hours, including today's news, go ahead and do that, please.
So let's rewind the clock to just a few days ago. We had the transportation secretary send a letter to AT&T and Verizon to delay, to ask for a further delay on the C Band launch. Right? People were saying it could be an up to 2-week delay. And by the way, this was literally the 11th hour, right? Thursday night, very late, onto Friday the 31st. Just 5 days or 6 days until the launch of C Band. The FCC, one of the FCC commissioners, went on record and saying that there is no science behind this, there's no law behind this, and basically that whatever the secretary is saying is irrelevant, right? This is just going to happen, right? The launch is going to happen. Today, just a couple hours ago, both Stanky, AT&T CEO, and Hans, Verizon CEO, came in a joint letter to explain the situation to the secretary and to the FAA administrator, explaining the situation. The letter is public. You guys can review the letter yourself. It also includes a little bit of technical explanation to the secretary because they believe that the FCC has done their job as the authoritative body for spectrum for the country. The FCC has agreed not only to auction off the spectrum, but that the auctioned spectrum is ready for commercial utilization. That it will not have any safety issues for the customers, for the aviation industry, nothing. They even cited France, they cited Germany, they cited many different countries in the report. Not only that report, but also, the letter, but also the FCC 200 and plus page report cited multiple different countries and how they're utilizing C Band. So there's an article from Reuters that just came out a few minutes ago that this is the purpose of why we're talking today is because, and I'm just going to read it verbatim. On Thursday, the trade group Airlines for America have asked the FCC to halt deployment of new 5G wireless service around many airports, warning thousands of flights could be disrupted. Quote, the potential damage to the airline industry alone is staggering. Now, just right now, the update was that the trade group representing American Airlines, Alaska Airlines, Delta, FedEx, Hawaiian, JetBlue, Southwest, and UPS, and Air Canada from Canada, have said in this article that the airline, quote from the article, the airline group has said it may go to court on Monday if the FCC does not act specifically on this issue.
So, Moose, let me go ahead and chime in here. We've
Mhm.
kind of been asking for this. The indecision or non-action of the FCC, we have viewed as concerning. Personally, I can say I have. I personally believe that the FCC chairwoman, she has to respond publicly, and there has to be a stand down moment. She must. She has to respond at this
Sneed.
point. There's too much pressure.
Hey, Sneed. Remember when I said that she's gutless by not saying nothing? Well, there you
Carlos,
go.
it's not that she's gutless, dude. She's been responding to all of the issues that built up while she couldn't make decisions. So she's been making the correct calls. I think this is coming due to a different type of pressure. You know, it's a different political climate right now within the federal government. So there's probably a lot of tiptoeing currently, but at some point she's going to have to respond, right? So Barry says some lackey judge will try to stop this rollout. I don't think so. I don't think that's how it's going to play out. Tyrone, how do you see it, man?
So I'm gonna be up early tomorrow, and I'm gonna monitor everything. If they do have the balls to go to the court, I think a judge will give them an ear. We know in the court system nothing goes fast, so it could be the case, as you mentioned, Sneed. The judge gives them an ear, and he says, "Where's the evidence?" No, he's just gonna throw it out within 24 hours. He's like, "No, you don't stand a chance." Or, he could say, "Hey, look, I want to hear both sides. I want to see your evidence. I want to see their evidence." And then he could say, "Hey, the C band launch is on hold until we go through these standard court proceedings." And all of that could take place within the next 24 to 48 hours. Again, it's unofficial. We don't know for sure, but it is mentioned in the article publicly that they said that they may go to court if the FCC does not act. And of course, the FCC rejected the extension or delay, whichever you want to call it. So that lets them know that, hey, look, the FCC is not in our interest. They don't back us. They're not going to act. So we'll see what takes place in the morning.
I also think, like, in a way, if a judge gives them the ear, it undermines the FCC. What do we have 5 commissioners for? What do we have a chairwoman for? Now that becomes undermined in a way. I don't know if you guys see it the same way. What do you think?
I see it the same way, Sneed. I think this shouldn't even be a discussion. But the FAA feels the way that they feel. The third party that's stepping in, they feel the way that they feel. They say that they've presented evidence that the FCC just threw out and didn't even acknowledge. So I mean, we don't truly know what happened behind the scenes. What we do know is 40 countries are receiving flights that have far larger C-band deployments, and they have no problems. That's what we know as fact.
And Tyrone, you got to remember, in other countries, it's only 50 to 100 megahertz max of guard band. We're giving a 4 to 500 off the bat.
Yep.
It's going to be interesting to see how things play out to start the morning. Tyrone, I don't know what your expectations are. I know that the more this drags on with indecision and no reaction from the FCC, it puts more pressure on those above the FCC, meaning, the presiding president.
Yep.
Because there's nowhere to go. This is not supposed to go to a federal court. This is not supposed to go to a federal judge, the Supreme Court. This is supposed to go to the FCC. However, it involves the FCC. How
Yep.
does the FCC take itself to court? Isn't that what the process is in this case? Is the FCC not the governing body of all things cellular and radio frequency?
Yep, that is true, Sneed. But it looks like there is that third party that disagrees with the governing FCC. So there has to be a higher party, which is the Supreme Federal Judge, that they may get involved if they have the balls to do it.
The joint letter that Stanky and Hans sent out today, just a couple hours ago, to the Transportation Secretary and the FAA Administrator, it precisely lays out this timeline of indecision and inability that the FAA has taken and has done. Just to give you some tidbits from it, right? 2019, okay? 2019 is when the first studies of C Band were conducted, okay? And not until early 2021, when the C Band spectrum was the auction was fully completed. That's another 2 years. Nothing has happened, right? No conversation about the altimeters, no conversation until November 2nd of this last year, 2021. And it was pretty clearly outlined here that not until November 2nd, the FAA never had an issue. So
Moose
to me,
is 100% right. What Moose is describing, for anybody that needs to cross-check this, Moose is describing what was written in the letter. Verizon and AT&T actually spilled the beans. They disclosed in that letter that the FAA admittedly did not voice a concern with this launch until November 2nd. They were unable to produce any credible evidence or risk of interference or any complaints until November 2nd. That was when Verizon and AT&T were formally addressed with this concern, and the FCC for that matter. That is 100% disclosed from the carriers in their letter today, in their response to the request to delay C-band.
Right. In the letter, it very clearly states that December 5th was the intended December 5th was the intended time frame to launch C-band. Okay, that was confirmed by the letter, and in good faith, per the letter, both companies have agreed to this 30-day extension, right? Even though there has been an entire year of preparation. In the letter, it says there's been an entire year by employees, by contractors. Everybody was line step for a launch in December of 2021. But the FAA requested an extension, and, it is what it is at this point, right? The extension has happened. Now they're asking for an additional extension for whatever that means. Sneed has been saying this for a long time. What is another 2 weeks going to do? Nothing. It's time, Even in the letter says is that the longer we wait, the longer the gap, the longer the agony of putting, the plans to modernize the telecommunications of America take, the longer this delay is happening.
I mean, I even saw an article earlier from Yahoo Finance that the carriers would be willing to leave C-band off around airports for the first 6 months. So they're willing to work with the FAA, but the FAA doesn't want to seem to come to meet them in the middle at all.
I'm kind of shocked, actually, Tyrone, that these agencies, the FAA, the Airline Association, the Department of Transpo, I'm shocked that they're willing to undermine the FCC. I did not see this coming. I thought once the administration had appointed their chairwoman, things were going to just be cooking with gas. We were going to march through with 5G, more spectrum auctions, more releases of spectrum, proper coordination of infrastructure bills. That's how I thought this was going to play out, because this is a crucial time for the country. This is a huge regression in my perception. I don't know if you guys agree. I think it's a huge, massive step back.
Oh, it'll be something that we may not recover from depending on the length of this. I mean, this is economically going to hurt everybody. People, the T-Mobile fanboys are like, yeah, they're celebrating like, yes, no C band, but it hurts competition, it hurts progression, it hurts everything across the board.
A judge is going to the best thing that a judge could do if they were actually investigating this is how can the FAA as well as the airline operators, how can they explain that the planes don't crash in Germany, in other countries where they launch C band with 100 megahertz of guard, with full power? How do they reply to that? What is their answer? It's like somebody has video footage of you stealing and you're denying stealing. What do they say to that? 40 countries with C band, our planes land and take off there all day, every day for 2 years. And there's not an incidence of altimeter interference. What do they say? What's their response? Do you guys think that the judge is going to mention this?
He might.
I mean, we would hope so.
How does a delay help in any way, shape, or form? How is a delay a solution? The transport department wants 2 weeks. The other ones want an indefinite halt. They how is any of that a solution to this? How does that change their altimeters? Where's the action step? Where's the agreement with Verizon and AT&T saying we'll get our altimeters updated or modernized or filtered within the 6 months? There's nothing of that, Tyrone.
Yep, nothing. I think
because Moose, I'll ask Moose because he's over there on that side. Moose, the carriers can say we've done our part. Don't you agree?
The carriers have done, and by the way, this also includes T-Mobile, the extensive testing. So it's not just a bias of Verizon and AT&T. Okay, everybody that bought the spectrum or that even intended to use the spectrum, they needed to be involved in some type of testing. Okay, they did the testing. They confirmed that they couldn't replicate under the extensive guard band the issue that the FAA is talking about. So this goes again to the FCC saying they needed to come out straight up. Jessica needed to go to the FAA and say, you got to stand down. Or there needed to be in a conference call with the president and saying, hey, this is what's going on. Our authority as an FCC is being undermined because of issues that the FAA is not willing to admit they have to fix themselves. If the altimeters are the issue, then it's up to them to pay for replacements.
I believe the FAA needs to be fined for this. Whatever funding they receive, if they're a funded agency, whatever, they need to be fined. The operators should be fined, actually, the aircraft owners, operators, because their equipment's not prepared. I mean, to know that the altimeters are operating from the 1950s, 60s, 70s, that's a joke. We have people upgrading certain industry hardware every 5 years, 10 years. I mean, think about all the businesses that you frequent. Some of these systems and some of the equipment is upgraded annually, semi-annually. Who knows, right? It just depends on the nature of the industry. This is flight. This is aviation. This is safety. I can't believe I can't believe in the US of A this is happening to us. I'm embarrassed. And the FCC is probably embarrassed too. I hope Brendan Carr speaks on this tomorrow. He seemed to be pretty vocal. He supported the carriers.
Shit, I hope Jessica just comes out and says, "You guys sit down and we're gonna do this."
Like final hours, Tyrone. Like sit down. You have 24 hours to come up with a solution. January 4th is or January 5th is upon us.
Yeah, that's it. Unless unless the judge really does step in, the federal judge, and says, "I'm gonna listen to what the FAA has to say." If it comes down to that, it's gonna turn into a mess.
Are you guys expecting any more releases or statements from anybody within the next 24 hours, or is the next step going to be some kind of a court injunction of some sort?
Yeah, I think it'll be the court injunctions needed. If they do plan on doing this, the paperwork will be on the judge's desk in the morning.
Yeah, this is it's very big time. Whatever is going to happen within the next 2 days, I have my popcorn ready. I got my water ready. I'm going to just sit back, relax, and I'm going to expect something is going to happen. Because at this point, we are now at a crossroads. If we take the left path, smooth sailing, it's going to launch, no more issues from the FAA. If we take the right path, we might have this thing delayed for a long time. And that's my biggest worry, is that if we continuously have this delay, it's going to jeopardize a lot of infrastructure upgrades that the carriers have already put in place and are already in plan, as we are already in the first quarter of 2022. Remember, the first quarter now is official, second day.
Carlos, how do you see this playing out, sir, tomorrow?
Bro, if this continues the way it does, and it does go through, let's say, to the court and they halt it, it's going to be bad news. It's going to be very bad news. So, yeah.
Yeah, this is going to be big time. Because hypothetically, right, let's say the scenario one plays out where this airline group, with Alaska, American Airlines, Delta, FedEx, UPS, United, JetBlue, Southwest, Hawaiian, Atlas Air, Worldwide, Air Canada, right? If those airlines as a consortium sue the FCC, AT&T and Verizon have 100% authority and justification to countersue the FCC. Because now, if this thing is going to be delayed for, let's say, even 6 months, they need 50% of what they paid for the accelerated clearing cost.
Another thing, too, to add to what Musa's saying, it looks like the FAA themselves are moving at a snail pace. They haven't even identified priority airports where a buffer zone would permit aviation operation to continue safely. They haven't even identified all the airports.
We have 3 or 4, I think, Tyrone, as of right now.
So we
got what, 46 PAs for A block?
Yep. They need more time just to figure out all of their issues, it seems like.
And by the way, Newark Airport is so close to the river on the east side of it that there's really no way to have a actual buffer zone like how they are thinking about, right? Because that's like hundreds of cell sites in that area around Newark, right? Let alone the DAS inside of Newark, that all DAS systems eventually will be getting C Band, right? But the first deployments are going to be the macros. So this is a epic waste of time that they're asking to put a buffer zone, right? At the end of the day, what is the issue, right? The issue is that
So
the
Moose,
FAA. Go ahead.
why is the buffer zone not good enough? They say that's not going to suffice. Why is the FAA saying no, that won't cut it? Why is the buffer zone? Why is the non-deployment near airports? Why is that not good enough? The FAA has literally said no, this is not good enough.
Well,
this does not make any sense. If the
They're-
sites near the airport are not turned on, or they aren't deployed there yet, how is it not good enough?
No.
I can only go from experience on this one since I've flown into Newark so many times since I used to live there in New Jersey. Newark is a terrible airport. It only has 2 runways, constant delays from just basic rain, right? And a lot of international flights go to Newark. Okay. There's approximately 35 cell sites between AT&T and Verizon in that area. Majority of those sites are looking downrange onto the tarmac, right, the runway as well. If hypothetically Verizon has gotten there and already has upgraded the C band, radios, antennas, etc., even a down tilt, it would never be able to get to all the way to where the FAA is saying that it will cause interference. Okay, I can guarantee you this right now. That C band is primarily for the the freeways, right, surrounding the airport to alleviate the congestion. But in terms of interfering with aircraft, man, unless the signal is going to be bouncing off the ground, there's no way that thing is going to be able to even reach the airplane when it's coming down.
They still can't prove that the interference is there. We still don't have that evidence. And we have the carriers making concessions. I don't know, man. I don't see why this should be entertained. At some point, the FCC should just get nasty with it.
Well, I think that's what they did. They rejected that offer.
But that was one commissioner,
Yeah.
right? It must be coming from Jessica Rosenwar. So otherwise, they're going to say, well, that's Brendan Carr. That's one commish.
Yeah.
What about the other 4 and what about the chair?
This is it's eye-opening, man.
What are the chances of this going to a federal judge? Is this real life?
Yeah. The chances are higher than ever before.
What are the chances that this goes to an executive decision from the president?
Now, that's what I think is the next step. If it goes to the federal court, the president is going to have to step in. He can't let this linger on in court because, court, I mean, this could take 2 to 3 months before they can get this figured out in court.
I don't even think that they have a judge ready to have arbitration. You know what I'm saying, Sneed? It's not like a real court and everything like that. There's going to be arbitration where it's there's the judge is there. There's going to be somebody from the pro side and the plaintiff side, the defendant side. That's it. A few people. It's definitely going to be lawyers from.
So here's my concern, Moose.
Yeah.
You mean to tell me the FAA is prepared for court in less than 2 months, but they couldn't prepare for C-band in 2 years?
I'm telling you. You see, this is the messed up. Yeah.
Listen to that. Listen to how that sounds coming out of my mouth. The FAA is ready to sue the FCC and the carriers in preparation within 2 months, but they weren't prepared for C-band for 2 years. That's facts.
It's crazy. Sneed, them paying the legal fees is probably more expensive than upgrading the altimeters.
The amount of lawyers that are going to be involved in this.
Oh man, everybody's going to.
And the types of lawyers they are, Tyrone, right?
Oh God. Oh man.
A federal magistrate, a federal judge. Where does this go? This goes to DC. This is why I said in this particular process, if we're following the lateral movement, the FCC is suing itself. When does that happen?
Yeah, it never happens. That's why they have to indirectly do it through a third party.
Which would mean arbitrators.
Yep. So
which would need a liaison from each organization.
Yep. So either the FAA has a book, a thick book that's labeled evidence, or they're just trying to buy themselves time for whatever they're trying to figure out. Because they're gonna have to bring evidence.
Do we get C Band live on January 5th, gentlemen? Tyrone?
I mean, I still say yes, but we'll see what happens in the morning.
Carlos?
Honestly, if it goes any further, no.
Moose?
Say that again, Chacha.
Does C Band go live January 5th?
I'll tell you this right now, man. And I've been saying this for a couple weeks now. We've had the back and forth. If there's a lawsuit tomorrow morning, it's not going on.
No.
If there is a lawsuit tomorrow morning, it's not going to be turned on. And that's why I had a feeling when you guys were reporting that AT&T indefinitely paused their launch is because of this. They didn't want to be blamed for a plane going down or whatever, right? But thankfully, there was a joint letter this afternoon by both CEOs that says this thing is going to happen. No more delays.
I'm just looking at the hierarchy. I'm looking at the sequence of these groups. I don't see how this goes to court. I don't understand. I'm lost. I mean, let's look at what the Federal Aviation Administration has to do. They're responsible for the safety of civil aviation. They were formed in 1958. They adopted the name in 1967 when they became part of the Department of Transportation. That means they are a subgroup of the Department of Transportation. And the Department of Transportation requested a delay. There's no injunction in there, right? So their activities is safety regulation, airspace and air traffic management, air navigation facilities, civil aviation abroad, commercial space transportation, research, engineering, and development. So what have they been doing? I don't like what's been going on? I'm completely just disconnected from their process. I don't get it. And the other piece of this is if their boss or their hierarchy is structured to the Department of Transportation, and the Department of Transportation has not even been aggressive towards the carriers or the FCC. They're essentially a subgroup for the Department of Transportation. How would they have more pull or political power over the Department of Transportation?
Like I said, it's out of control. Go ahead, Chacha.
It's a slippery slope situation, unfortunately.
That's what I said. Unless they really have evidence and reasoning as to why this should be stopped, and they're going to have to present that to the court if they plan on going. And there must be something that they have, because this is going to be expensive. If they plan on going through with this, there's going to have to be some money coming across those tables. So they must have something that we don't know about.
Tyrone, they receive $2 to $3.5 billion every year in grants. I think the FCC could recommend the removal of those grants. Make it hurt.
Yep. Make it hurt.
And they'll never do this again.
Yep.
I mean, this is incredible. They do have money and funding. Airport provides leadership in planning and developing safe, efficient national airport systems. all programs related to airport safety and inspections and standards, construction, operation. What have they done in 2 years? This has to be neglect and incompetence.
Yep.
Bro, the part that I don't get is we have our planes like American Airlines, Deltas. They go to these damn countries that have the spectrum deployed and they have no issue. And if they really think an altimeter is gonna help them land safe, when it's snowing, what does snow do with anything? It
Carlos, they
reflects. It
disengage
reflects
the
laser, reflects light.
Carlos, they disengage the altimeters in bad weather and windy conditions.
Exactly. What are you saying, that you guys are hiring pilots that don't know how to fly and they have to depend on automation to fly, on automated systems?
We still don't even have proof that the interference exists. We still don't even have that.
Exactly.
Could this sequence of events alter the politics of these industries? What are we talking about here in the next 10 years?
Maybe some reform. I don't know.
That's what I was thinking, Tyrone. Is do we have reform on the way? What the FCC can do, what the FAA can do.
What's your jurisdiction? Yeah.
Exactly, because maybe they need a reminder. Maybe there needs to be a memo sent to the FAA, stay in your lane, or you guys were neglectful and incompetent in preparing for this event.
Bro, the FAA is just salty, bro. At the end of the day, they're salty. They lost their power, that they don't have the power they used to have, and that's all. This is all it comes down to, is just politics, power trips.
But it's been well documented, Carlos. Carlos, it's been well documented. They move at a snail's pace. The FAA is known as one of the slowest and just hardest to work with. Progress for them, it takes eons. Like certain types of equipment to be tested and accepted as commercial deployed, like ready for aircraft. Alexis told me it takes years just to make it ready for market. Why? If it's such crucial technology, it should be analyzed and approved quickly, like within 6 months. It shouldn't be put on the shelf for a year and then analyzed. It should be analyzed immediately and then a decision made, right?
Well, of course. But you know how this goes, bro. It's all a political shit show, bro. They just want to show who has power, who doesn't have power. That's basically what it comes down to at the end of the day. You know that.
Anything for the go to the order then? I mean, do you think there's anything else we need to discuss, Carlos?
Well, like I said, bro, if tomorrow, if this goes any further, am I still here?
Yeah, I think this is going to end with...
Oh, man.
Oh, we lost Los. I think this is going to end with with the FAA looking bad. Then they could have saved face and they could have been prepared. And these aviation companies, they put them on the spot. They did this wrong.
Yeah, I said that in my video too, Sneed. I think the FAA is looking for a higher entity to tell the FCC to stop this launch. That's essentially what they're looking for. Now, in order to get that accomplished, of course, they're going to have to bring something to the table, or the judge is just going to laugh at them.
Sorry about that. I ended up getting a call. But yeah, bro, if this doesn't happen, if tomorrow anything happens, it will be delayed. And if it does get delayed, like I said, bro, mark my words, they will be at that auction 108. They are going to get bid on that spectrum, that EBS spectrum, because they're going to need whatever the hell they can take. And T-Mobile will not have their contiguous spectrum. Mark my words.
Moose, anything for the go to the order when we close out the live stream?
I think that I'm going to wake up early tomorrow. I expect something to come down the pipe by 7 a.m. Eastern. That's usually how it goes because it's Washington, D.C. time. when stuff gets filed. I anticipate that they're going to probably file on the District Court of Washington, D.C., the federal district court. And there's going to be a battle. It seems exactly as I predicted it that this was going to happen. There's going to be a battle. And at this point, if the judge says that there has to be a stay on the delay, there needs to be a higher entity to completely get rid of the stay. There's no way that this can go on past this week. I think there will be a resolution this week. If there is a lawsuit, there'll be a resolution.
Damn, bro, I give you credit for having high hopes, bro, because honestly, when it involves anything with the court system, especially federally, that shit can get stuck with them. It'll stay stuck in the limbo for 6 months to a year, bro, from every time I've seen something happen.
There's too much money involved, man. We're talking about billions,
bro.
Yeah, go ahead.
Bro, there's stuff that's billions too, bro, that gets stuck in a limbo for a long time, bro. That's the problem.
So, Zero Cool, did you hear the news?
I think I collected like the tail end of it. Like I need like the launch, like they're gonna launch Verizon AT&T. I just checked my email like, oh Jesus, there's a live stream. Sweet. So yeah, this is good. This is good. I mean, like I said before, like if the carriers were gonna delay something or not launch it at a specific date, we would have got an email or a PR announcement like a long time ago. So this is good. We'll be able to have some C Band parties.
No, it's not. But this is the thing. There's a lawsuit that's about that. That's possibly will be filed in the morning.
Oh, the lawsuit. Okay. I'm not gonna caught up to speed yet. I wouldn't. The only way that lawsuit's gonna stick is if like the judge would make what's called an emergency injunction. So if the judge doesn't make an emergency injunction, then they're gonna fly. So it'll be all right.
The FAA better have that evidence.
Yeah, what evidence? Yeah, I think this is gonna go through. I don't see. I mean, if you think about it, we got like Monday is the 3rd, right? So usually, let me tell you what happens on that. Like, let's say if they're gonna launch on the 5th. So what usually happens on these types of launches, they usually launch at midnight. What's called during the maintenance window. Like every carrier has a maintenance window. It's from 12 to 5 or 12 to 6, right? So we can expect actually these sites to go live at midnight, supposedly on right at the stroke of midnight on the 5th, or a little bit shortly after that, because they have to turn up the carriers, right? And that takes a long time, and they have to do it at maintenance window. This cannot be done during the day. This is a maintenance window activity. So,
do you guys think states get involved? State Attorney General?
I mean, you would have to have I don't know, like you would have to have every state attorney general from every state where they're going to launch C Band get involved, and that's going to take forever. That's why I don't think this emergency injunction This is why I don't think this emergency injunction is going to work. This lawsuit ain't going to do anything. This is just more PR BS.
Well, they're involving the Canadian Airlines, which is international. Now they're involving an international party.
That doesn't matter. Canada has no jurisdiction over U.S. airwaves, especially over.
I just think that's a reach, honestly. That's just
a reach. That's a reach. That's all it is. Canada has no jurisdiction over FCC. Number one. Number two, they don't have any jurisdiction over the carriers.
Yeah, apparently the Reuters article, Zero Cool, mentioned that the airline group, which has several airlines, American, Alaska, Air Canada's are part of it, right? UPS, FedEx, from the delivery folks, right?
But
they're gonna sue by Monday. That's what the article is saying, that if this doesn't get resolved by Monday, something will happen, and we're anticipating a lawsuit.
Yeah, but if you got to think about the context here, like what's the resolve? If you're trying to sue somebody to make something happen, can you really? What are you going to make happen in a matter of a day and a half? Or less, you know what I mean?
The judge can say, well, you know what, we're going to temporarily pause the launch.
That's the only thing they can do, yeah.
That's the only thing about it, bro. They're trying basically. This is just they're trying to basically have the carriers pay for these altimeters, bro. That's what it's coming down to.
Here's the thing. I mentioned this. I'm not sure what stream, but like basically, number one, nobody can make the carriers pay for FAA equipment because it's not theirs. Number one. Number two, that would be ridiculous. The only thing that would happen as far as from a lawsuit perspective is the carriers can sue. This is the only way that would actually work for kind of in everybody's favor. If the carriers could sue the FAA if it was based on a delay, and then the FAA, right, would be forced to actually pay for the altimeter upgrades that they don't want to do. That's the only way that this would work, because the FAA, being the government, would have to point up the cash for all the airlines to upgrade the altimeters.
Bro,
the carriers don't. That's not the carrier's responsibility.
They're talking about grounding flights in these areas, in these major airports. They're talking about grounding them, bro. If this goes, like if they can't get it their way, they're talking about grounding them. Which we can see there's already been delays recently. They've been actually making delays on purpose and all that just because of this.
Right. That would be the only thing that the FAA can do. They have the authority to delay and ground flights and cancel flights. I want to put it past them to do it just to make another stink about it. It's horrible, but that'd be the only thing they can do. But I still see this launching on the 5th. I wouldn't be worried about the lawsuits, gents. So.
But what if they start delaying the flights, bro, to make a point, and then the president and everybody else gets involved and said, no, you got to turn this off because this is causing too much problems. Go to court and handle it.
That could happen. Yeah. I hope it doesn't get to that, but here's I don't know. I hope it doesn't happen. I could see that happening though, but I just hope it doesn't happen. The carrier said that they would delay it for 6 months or something around the airports anyways. They wouldn't turn it on the airports, so I don't know what they're all worried about.
That's why I never understood the fact that the FAA has received, I would call them concessions. The carriers have gone ahead and said, we won't deploy near the airports. We're going to power down,
right?
And so they've made efforts to find things that could reduce the risk or even eliminate it, because we still don't even have proof of the risk. So without proof of the risk, they're still within the public's eye making steps towards some sort of a remediation.
I got one more thing to add. So basically, and we actually have to do this with airports. Moose, you'll know, and this is why I don't understand this whole debacle. So whenever we launch a site by an airport, we are required by law to make sure that the frequencies that are already launched, and actually also including any other frequencies, except C Band, for example, won't interfere with any of the airport's operations. We call that what we do is we set there's called boundaries, like boundary. I'm sorry, not boundary. Border. We call those border sites. Border sites meaning we have to pay special attention to given surroundings. These include like FM radio stations, AM radio stations, airports, and military installations. Right. So we actually have to we actually have to submit when we do an RF build, we actually have to submit those documents to the FCC saying, hey, this is, for example, I'll just take like AWS-PCS. Like this is our RSRP measurements. This is our, our PE peak emissions. These are our EME. We have to submit actually EME field studies as well. We're around those types of places, especially airports. So the carriers have already done the needed due diligence on this.
Can I ask a couple of networking things real quick? I think these are important questions that we need answered. So my first question is, can hardware, meaning the antennas and the radios, for example, those that are transmitting N77, can that gear be programmed and controlled to power down during flights coming in at an airport?
So with automation, that would require a lot of automation. Now, could be the reason being because we have, I mean, if you think about how many flights come in at an airport at any given hour or 2 hours, that's a lot of flights, right? To be honest with you, it wouldn't be, in my opinion, as a per flight basis. It would be on a time basis, meaning, for example, you have flights coming in from like 6 to, I don't know, like 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. is your busy flight, busy flights at this airport, right? Given said airport. Now, so the power will be turned down.
Can that be controlled from the network core? Or
yeah, absolutely. That's actually controlled from the RAN side, actually. So,
but I don't think they'll do it. It's because, like, as an example, LAX, Dallas, JFK, every 30 seconds there's a flight touching down or taking off, or even faster than that.
It would have to be on a time basis to where the airport's not that busy, like during midnight, between midnight and 5 a.m. That'd be the one thing I could think of to do, to be honest with you. So
they Zero Cool, I just got a response. So some C Band sites will effectively be on commercial traffic tomorrow, and then the maintenance window. Sure. The maintenance window is Tuesday night. Is between 11 or 12 a.m. depending on markets. Right. When they start the launch.
Right, exactly. That's what I read earlier. So your maintenance window, 12 to 5, 12 to 6. Right, depends on the market, and it depends on the time zone. Right, you have to take that into effect. So basically, the sites that are being launched earlier are what we call those phased test sites. So test sites, because we do that. We used to do in Sprint World. We used to do the Sprint World. So basically, what you do is you turn up one or two sites only, make sure everything is okay, make sure nothing blows up, right? And if those sites are good, then you can turn up the rest of the market.
Hey, Tyrone. Yeah. You're 100% correct. I just got a text from my RF buddy at Verizon. So midnight tonight, they're gonna turn on outer tower sites in every PEA that has C-band deployed right now. They will turn them on tonight.
Breaking news.
Because they're basically trying to give the FAA the big one before they get the lawsuit slapped, because they have a feeling that lawsuit will be slapped. So they're trying to turn them on now to prove a point.
Sneed, this is breaking news.
That's what he's telling me right now. He said
story,
it will
Carlos,
be at half capacity. So he said here, Lowe's, don't worry. They will be on at half capacity tonight at midnight. You will see. Get ready for your tower to have UW showing on your phone. Don't trip. It was like, we're going to show a power move to the FAA. And if they don't like it, we will jack up their rates so high that they'll cancel with us. We don't give a damn. We're deploying this.
So basically, if half capacity, what anybody does not know regarding that is half power and half of your EDT. Basically, if you open up the EDT, you don't want everybody to connect to it. What you do is you limit that EDT to a very, very, very small group of customers around that tower, and you basically only transmitting half the power. I will be right back really quick. I got to throw a quick pizza in the oven, so I'll be right back.
So we got breaking news. Confirmed now by Tyrone and Carlos with their sources. Sneed, I think this calls for changing the live stream title, man.
I actually got the list of the towers that are getting turned on for me tonight. Oh damn, he just texted me.
Snap.
Oh snaps. That's what I'm saying, bro. I'm telling you, bro. They have to prove. This is gonna be their proof, bro. That's funny that Tyrone source, same thing he said, bro. They're gonna turn it on and they're gonna prove their point. They're gonna prove their damn point, showing that, hey, you know what? You guys are just selling a bunch of wolf tickets. You guys are wasting our damn time with your power trips. Nothing's caused. You see, have the plane gone down in the last 24 hours? No. Okay then.
But the thing is they know. If they can pick up on those signals, they'll know.
Oh yeah, they're gonna know.
The engineers, the operators, those altimeters will know.
And if they didn't install a filter, then whose fault is
Carlos,
that?
there's an AT&T site by the airport by NASA. Should I go there tomorrow? It's an AT&T site.
On the AT&T side, you're gonna have to confirm with the other plug, but I know on the Verizon side it'll be on. But I don't know about the airport, but
So
let me find out. I'll find out a list.
My neighboring site is just over 2 miles away. It's like maybe 2.25, 2.3 miles away. I'm gonna test it. It's got CBRS and C Band. I mean,
Yep. So
big shout out to Chaim. Thank you for the super chat. I'm not sure what his status is on Twitter, but there it is.
So I guess we got breaking news. We should what do you think about changing the stream title, man? I mean, we got to be awake at midnight, man.
Pretty much. I'm telling you, bro, that they're gonna prove a point. They're gonna want to prove a point because we already know the FAA. They're gonna get. That's why they're getting the airlines involved, bro. Because the airlines is their pocketbooks, basically. You feel me? Like there's the money bags. That's their version of the money bags.
Can anyone confirm tower sites near them? Carlos? Moose?
I'm gonna go to mine at midnight tonight. You know me, dog. I have 2 near me that I'm gonna check tonight at midnight.
Oh yeah. We gotta
do you think it's appropriate for me to change the name of the stream when we have unofficial news coming from internals?
Oh, I mean, the lawsuit could still happen. This is just Verizon prepping their normal launch window.
Yep.
Verizon is proceeding.
Oh, yeah.
Does anybody know, can you confirm which devices will be compliant upon launch?
Definitely the S21
right now.
Definitely the S21 for sure.
The iPhone 13 Pro, or the iPhone 13 line should be too.
And the
people
Pixel.
have been testing.
And the Pixel.
I don't know about the Pixel,
bro,
because
Pixel?
the November update was the last update it got.
Yeah, the December update got pulled because of
issues with calls. I may do a total reset on my phone and see if I
just quickly, just to throw this in for everybody that's on the stream. The engineers have been testing and getting ready for launch. The iPhone is holding onto C-band better than the S21s. The S21s are preferring DSS N5 over C-band for whatever reason.
They have to update the combos on the modem and shit. That's what it comes down to.
Any difference between the iPhone 12 and 13 generation?
All right. Back with the guys.
Because Tyrone, this is the same problem that, remember when T-Mobile launched the UC? This is the same problem. And then once they did that update, the firmware update, now it's staying on UC, and it'll then go to low band in case the signal's too weak or whatever. Then it'll go to low band, but it prefers UC. So this is basically the same growing pains that the Samsung unfortunately is having again, which never fails once again.
I totally feel when it comes to cellular networking, the modem technology, the implementation within the software, firmware, whatever, hardware combo.
Yeah.
It always seems like the Galaxy's first rendition of operations with new bands and other connections. It's always beta.
Yeah.
You know, what are you supposed to do? It's the first to market, and these are the things that come with it. Big shout out to Alex. So I don't know about specific sites in Seattle. I don't have any access to any tools or anything.
There isn't a full list yet, but the S21, the iPhone 12, and the 13 are all ready as of their last software update. The Pixel 6 has also been used for testing, so it should be good to go for launch as well.
Hey, Noel Torres, just hit me up on email, because right now my Twitter is down. I got compromised. Carlos says text 702@gmail, and I'll hook you up with some sites around your area.
Tyrone, are you within any sites with any close range? And do your devices connect?
I'm 7 hours away from the closest site, man.
Dallas.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
Okay.
Drive to Dallas.
Back again.
Holy crap.
Carlos, how close are you to a site?
0.2 miles.
Is
I'm
that
2
site,
miles away.
Carlos? How far is that from the airport? Was it Outlier side or no?
It's I'm a good distance from there, probably about 9 miles away.
Oh, good. Okay, yeah, that's an Outlier site. Nice.
See, this is interesting. The FCC granted the carrier's approval 90 days ago to turn on sectors at the airport to test C Band. So C Band has been active around airports. It's been whitelisted for engineers' devices only, but the frequency has been blasted all over the goddamn airport.
Yeah, so let me expand upon that process just a little bit. So basically, when we have to turn up a new frequency, or for example, when we change bandwidth on a frequency, let's say if you're going from like 10 megahertz to 50 megahertz or 10 to 20, whatever, we will test those hard parameters. But what we will do is we will actually what's called barring. So we'll bar 911. So basically, if you try to call 911, it's not gonna hit that sector that's being used for testing, right? So yeah, of course, like, especially C-band being a new frequency, the reason why we do little blurbs of test transmissions of what Carlos has been seeing on his phone is because we have to know how it will interact with the other frequencies when they're turned up, especially when we bar 911 as well at that time.
Anybody have any disclosures on the S20 devices? Are they getting updated? And I just want to let you guys know, my nearest site that has C-band is 7 miles from the airport.
You should be good.
Have they been scaling C-band in Cleveland, Sneed?
Yeah, you'll be good, Sneed.
They have not really been scaling. If there are more sites, I can't find them. AT&T has a site within 1 mile of the airport, probably within a half a mile from airspace.
They have almost 50% market share in Cleveland. I thought they'd be throwing.
They
that
have
shit
a
at
lot
the
of
site.
CBRS and millimeter wave. I feel they pushed back a little bit. I'm expecting more sites, I haven't checked downtown. I can't check those rooftop sites. They're all shrouded, right? They're tucked behind. They're located at the top. We're talking 15, 20, 40 floors up. How do we see small gear like mid-band gear?
Yeah, that's true.
It'd be impossible. I need some sort of access to internal tools in order to really pinpoint these macros.
I need a drone.
Yeah.
Or I need Carlos's Phantom. Exactly. Or the Maven.
Well, I could tell you guys right now, all of the small cells, the C-RAN that are surrounding the SoFi Stadium for the Super Bowl, will have C-band for Verizon on every single one of those small cells.
100%. And they've all got 25 and 50 gig backhaul.
Yeah. And you guys will actually see these not just on macros, but on small cells, maybe around your area as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
The thing is, Zero Cool, is I haven't seen crews on the site, so it'll just be me testing as things are going live. I can't even make that speculation like, oh, I've seen them working on sites, and I can ask and get confirmation from them. When you ask, they tell you. They don't mind.
Right. Yeah. You'll just have to, drive by some small cells and see which on and which ones are off. So
also, just to throw that in real quick, Verizon is they're not slick, but they are switching up the C-band deployment. So you've seen the regular massive MIMO panel, right? The smaller one.
Yeah.
Now they're throwing in the CommScope panels, which look they're like a regular panel that you've seen.
Yeah, but Tyrone, we have absolutely no reason to believe that those are going to broadcast C-band. The dedicated gear we've been seeing for C-band has been Ericsson, and Samsung, and
I'll send
it's
you
not.
Pictures.
I've seen the pictures.
I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah. The Twitter account from Magic on Twitter. I'll repost it if you guys want me to retweet it. But he says there's CommScopes, and he's got pictures and images of the frequency labels underneath the gear, like where they plug in the fiber connections and everything, and where they plug in the power. Yeah. It has all the frequencies, so it's got like 1.7 to 2.2 gigahertz and all of that. where everything gets assigned. My
Yeah.
only problem is everybody I've spoken to from Verizon
Yep.
and all of the networking and engineering notes all indicate Samsung and Ericsson for the gear. Never mentioned from CommScope.
No,
And I sent that.
It's a multi-band radio is what it is. So
Yeah, and I sent that picture with the frequency to the source, and he said they are starting to sprinkle very slowly those CommScope panels into the markets.
So the test site here in Vegas on Flamingo Road, that test site has that panel. It has that CommScope panel. And the reason why they're going to do that is that even though those panels are not going to be able to do like the 128 by 128 massive MIMO, but the reason why they're putting them there is to overlay the massive MIMO panel. So it'll be like you'll have one tower site that's nearby that'll have the massive MIMO panel, then you'll have that panel.
But here's the reason why it's not a big deal. Those sites need LTE upgrades anyways.
Yeah.
So all that CommScope gear is upgrading LTE. You can bring the massive MIMO gear from Ericsson and Samsung later when it's available.
Right. Yeah, that's correct. Basically, they're going to be launching the C Band on 5G, so that's going to again require a multi-band massive MIMO radio that's going to run from like 3.3 to 3.9. I'm sorry, 3.3 to the high end of 3.7.
Yep. That from what I've been told is it's to help with the shortage. So they're throwing those in because there's a shortage on other equipment. So they're trying to, kind of navigate the shortage that way. And I think I was also told if C-band is the only frequency that's being used on that CommScope, then I think they are able to do that 128 by 128 or whatever.
There's only one problem, Tyrone, and that's the power, right? The EIRP.
Correct.
That gear does not do 200 watts.
Yeah, it does not. That is,
we're talking about potentially 280 watts on some Ericsson gear.
Yep.
He actually can go higher than that. Actually, he can go all the way up to 360. Actually,
is there gear out there that could do that?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. That's what I was doing at Verizon. I was aggregating the Band 5 and Bell 12 at 360 watts.
But I am told they are only using that equipment in the most densest parts of the network, like at the deep urban core where rooftop sites are within less than a mile of each other.
Pretty much. Yeah. So one of the many benefits of an Ericsson radio versus that I like personally is the TX power levels. When you're playing around with the R parameters, it really does the job so well. I mean, so well versus like a Nokia or even a Samsung. I always will prefer Ericsson for that. If you guys look, I don't know, look at Ericsson's site, watch your RSRP as far as you go from the site, you can see that you really see the difference.
The thing about the Nokia gear is that's the only one I don't want. I'm okay with the Samsung gear. I think Ericsson's the golden standard, but I'll take Samsung gear, especially with supply issues. I mean, do you think that maybe Verizon regrets not sticking around with Nokia for some gear at this point, seeing that the way things have played out with supply?
Possibly, bro, but they know that Nokia has always been, a show, bro, where updates don't come in on time.
The vendor software support is not the greatest. They really struggled with the DSS situation, and that's probably why all this has played out this way.
Well, that's what backfired on them was the DSS. That's when Verizon was like, nope, not doing it. See ya. And that was the issue, was the DSS. The only thing that I can think of now moving forward is that, Nokia gets their act together and they finally produce radios and panels that are actually of some kind of quality. But other than that, Verizon is happy with Samsung.
I don't know how other markets are, Tyrone, with the deployment, but here, bro, I could say as of last week, from when I saw more tower sites get the panel, we're 95% complete here on all tower sites with C-band. with the N77 for Verizon. AT&T, I say about 15%. That's it.
Yeah.
In the last 2 months, I've been seeing them deploy, and it's just only 15% of their sites.
I just want to say that a certain PR machine from a certain Zorb planet is ready with their Zorb
Pebble.
comments.
The Pebble is coming.
He is coming because he knows, because they have to inform their carriers, and it's going to be. I cannot wait to see what they're going to say on Twitter.
Oh God!
Our 2.5 is so much better.
Like this.
Our 2.5.
Yeah, it's gonna sound something like this. Our spectrum doesn't care about planes. It's safe. We have the safest 5G. That's the new one. Most 5G, fastest 5G.
Safest.
Now
5G.
we have the safest 5G.
The safest 5G.
Oh Jesus!
You're probably right. That's probably what's going to
grab
happen.
your Zarg nuts and then head over to Planet Zorb for the details.
Yes, exactly.
Jesus. But yeah, man, this is crazy.
Well, it's going to be an interesting 24 hours. I'm already ready, dog. I'm going to be going to my sites. I'm going to be testing that C Band.
Hey, Moose.
Yeah.
Send me the IMEI real quick so I can get that updated for you. That phone.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious because we know the Samsung phones are getting it. I'm assuming the Pixel 6 will be ready for that as well. And I'm trying to think of any other phones. iPhone definitely. What about the OnePlus? Does that have C Band in it or no?
It probably does. I don't see why not. The only band we've seen issues with has been, what is it, mmWave, and then I think it's been the band 14. I think that's really it.
Okay.
You know what? Casually unfiltered. I don't know. I don't know about the S20.
If it's updated to UI 4.0, yes. But if it's not, then no.
So there you go. Check your carrier settings or your about phone settings and see what you got.
So if you're on Android 12 UI 4, yes, you can.
This might be a good time to have everybody that hasn't checked their software updates to update.
Yep.
Yes.
Update your network carrier settings, because I just got an update on my AT&T one to 49.0.1. I know that FirstNet has been upgraded as well.
You just got that?
Yeah, I just got it right now. Yeah,
bro, I got that last night.
That's what I'm saying.
So Tyrone, you won't be able to get any testing anytime soon on your own personal devices?
Nope.
Carlos, you'll get yours pretty quick.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Moose, you'll get some testing in.
I'm gonna be awake, man. Midnight tonight. I'm gonna go around to those sites that I know of. I'm gonna see if I get it.
I'll be, if you guys want to email me, I'll be up all night for support. I'll help you guys.
Zero Cool doesn't sleep, dog. He don't get tired.
Cool.
You still got that number, right? That one, the 09 one.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, you guys have no idea, but Zero Cool is actually Captain Steve Rogers.
Jesus.
Thank you for the compliment.
America. Trust me, I've met the man in person. It is a sight to see.
I know why he's up. I know why he's up so late at night. I already know.
Oh yeah,
he already knows. He already knows. It's not just for the scallops, Los. It's for you guys. No. I'm not sugarcoating it. I aim to help you guys any way I can. You guys are great, and you guys are awesome.
That's what you want. If that's what you want to call A little
Yeah,
term
bro.
of
Those
oats.
are flapjacks.
A
Those are
little
flapjacks. You know what it
tiramisu.
is.
What?
Yeah, if you wanna call the choking the chicken, you feel me?
Oh my gosh, whatever, dude.
Oh man.
If we could find some sites, I am curious about a couple things. I like to know, and this is just a guesstimation on you guys' part, what you guys get to the sites. Carlos, maybe you can tell me a couple stats already. If you can just guesstimate the rad center, which is the tower height, I'd like to know a couple stats on that. And then the other thing is once you lock on, you can lock your phone onto C band only. Just force it to that band.
62 feet. I can tell you that right now.
You can't actually lock it because you need
No,
LTE.
it's NSA. Yeah.
So you have to make sure that you keep the LTE on there too.
Yep.
That's fine.
NSA,
Yeah.
What I would do though is I would turn off the band 5 DSS.
Yes,
right.
do
Yeah.
For
Exactly. Yeah. Turn off the DSS, and then if we can kind of guesstimate the RSRP.
I just do it with the iPhone because the iPhone's going to show you W. You don't have to worry about it.
Zero cool.
Yo.
The Chacha Carlos mentioned when you were AFK that the iPhone is holding on to the N77 better than even the S21. What do you think about that?
Of course, that's again, it goes back to the iPhone uplink. So basically, it is the UE saying, "Hello, I need a signal from the tower," right? So your uplink signal going from the iPhone obviously has better antennas than what your Android phone does. And that's why I'm so curious on the RSRP, especially on the uplink. For example, if you're doing a data, like if loading some data up on that phone, I really want to know what your guys' uplink is like. So tower height, RSRP at a good level, like 80, 90. And then give me some uplink data, and that's it.
Okay, I got you.
All right, sweet, man. Thanks.
Yeah, I'll be awake at midnight here. One of them, I can send you a picture of the one that I am going to look at. It's like a tree site. It's not it's slightly above one story of a building, so probably about 30 feet maximum.
Yeah, I was kind of curious about like some of these rad center heights because usually for testing purposes, like market launches, we don't really put them on high towers to begin with. We usually start with the what we call like the low hanging fruit first, just to see, because the problem is if you put the C band on the high towers, obviously it's going to go further down the line. But yeah, it's going to be fun to look at tonight and see what we can find.
And by the way, we forgot to mention one thing, Zero Cool. Not only is it like a document of all the frequencies that are sent to the FCC, but you also have to do walk tests.
Oh yes. Oh gosh.
Walk site checks. Yeah.
Yep. What we call site walks. We call them site walks. I can't tell you how many times I've done that, especially when we did the initial 100 small cells in the Modesto area. Then they bought the big boss wanted 300 small cells. I'm like, okay. So what we had to do is we had to walk and go to each pole and do our measurements and say, here's your projected coverage and blah, 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 blah. And yeah, I prefer site walks on macro sites versus small cells because the macro is so much more fun. Small cells are just, just dinky things. But no, yeah, I've done it.
Big shout out to Ben. Thank you for the super chat, my friend. Appreciate all that you do in supporting us, man. Thank you.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting one.
Wow. Hey, so Tyrone just sent me something from Twitter. Tyrone, do you want to talk about this? This is big.
Yeah, the Airline Pilot Association said that the U.S. aviation system is the safest in the world, and we're going to keep it that way. We applaud Secretary Pete for urging a delay in 5G rollout and stand ready to find solutions to keep flying safe and avoid widespread travel disruption. And that was in response to Brendan Carr and his remarks to the rejection.
I don't think that changes anything. I don't think that stirs anything.
Bro, what if pilots go on strike because of this?
Could happen.
That's not going to happen. They're just going to get it. That's not going to happen. They're just going to get a bulletin, a safety bulletin, that they're going to have to disengage at specific airports, they're gonna have to disengage the autopilot landing. They're gonna have to manually land them. I think it's called either it's some kind of a workaround. It's called like diversion or something like that. I forget what it's called.
Yeah, they're more likely to go
It's
on
the
strike
same
like due to the
protocol for when
pandemic.
there's bad weather, right? Zero Cool.
Kinda. Basically, what is sent out is what's called a NOTAM. Okay, so that's a notice to all airmen. What I noticed that what that does, a NOTAM, it actually advises. It's a bulletin. Okay, that advises safety issues in and around airports related to pilot safety, airport safety, as well as customer safety. So NOTAM, NOTAM.
You guys got anything else for the good of the order? We intended to only be on for like 20 to 30 minutes.
I would say everybody get a nap in before midnight.
Yeah. Yep. I'll be
Yeah.
sleeping the whole night, man. Keep me posted. All right. Pete says Omicron will cause bigger issues in C Band. Totally agree. Totally agree, sir. Carlos, thanks for coming through. Zero Cool, appreciate you. Thanks for coming by. Moose, thank you as well. And Tyrone, of course, thanks for being here. You know, you guys taking the opportunity. I know you guys are all busy, you know, and graciously find your way onto the podcast. So we appreciate it. Thanks for your thoughtful insight. Thank you guys for contributing to the show. We're glad to offer it to the nation, and stick with us as we do cover the topic more in depth in the next 48 to 72 hours. Big things coming. Would you guys all agree?
Oh man, this is gonna get excited. you guys gonna lose it.
A lot of live
so
streaming, dog. A lot of live streaming.
Oh yeah, C-band party coming up.
All right, guys. Thank you. Hashtag 2LiveCrew. Hashtag Replay Crew. Hashtag No Sleep Till C-Band. Hashtag Ravioli Gang. Hashtag Neville the Pebble. We'll see what he tweets out about it.
Gosh.
And I'm sure they're stuck in their snow globes, but they'll find a way to tweet something. You know.
Hashtag Eugene in a thong.
Oh man.
Well, T-Mobile's going to
out,
speak
bro.
on the 6th, the day after the launch. So
we'll see what happens. All right, guys. Do me a favor. Hit the like button. Share this, please. Subscribe for more. Turn on bell notifications. And that's it. Have a great rest of the weekend. And we'll see you guys soon on the next one. Peace.
Deuces.